Hello, my name is Emily. I am a student of English literature. This is my story. I want to tell you about my life in London. I want to tell you about my fantastic teacher. You can read my story and learn English with me. It is a beautiful summer day. I am traveling by train. Two women are on the train with me. The women are sitting opposite me. They are speaking English, but I don't understand much. I am studying English, but I am a beginner. I don't know many words. I began speaking to the women. I said some words in basic English. The women understood what I wanted to say, and that made me happy. I said that I wanted to learn English. The women told me they were from England. They were going home from a conference. Our conversation lasted about 10 minutes. The next station was my stop. I said goodbye. The women gave me their address and phone number. They told me that I could visit them in England. After this meeting, I worked on my English every day. I translated texts and watched films in English. In 6 months, my English improved. It was good now, but I wanted to learn more. I went to London. I wanted to study English there. When I was in London, I joined a school. My first lesson was on Monday. I met my teacher and other students in the class. My teacher was a young and kind woman. She was charming and humble. We introduced ourselves and then started the lesson. Our teacher had a question for us. She wanted to know our general knowledge about the language. She told us she could teach us using a very effective method to learn English. This method was very simple. She explained that we wouldn't have to study from textbooks, but we would have to use English a lot in our daily lives. It turned out to be very effective for me. I didn't like studying from textbooks because they confused me. Then we talked about what is important when learning a new language. Our teacher told us, language is a purpose and a mode for communication. We need languages to communicate. They help us express ideas and thoughts. So when you learn a new language, the best method is to use it to express your feelings and to communicate with others. And this is what we did in our course. We spoke and used English a lot. Many students try to memorize new words and study grammar rules, but they don't use English for speaking. There's a difference. Of course, you need to learn new words and grammar, but you don't have to just study them. You need to practice them daily. In this course, I wanted to demonstrate a very simple and effective method for learning vocabulary and grammar. I liked what our teacher said. Our lesson continued. We talked about our hobbies and what we liked to do in our free time. We spoke in pairs or with our teacher. I enjoyed attending the classes. I was really happy. The learning method turned out to be excellent and effective for me. I went to school again on Tuesday. One of the students asked an intriguing question. She asked, "What is the best way to learn new words?" Our teacher replied, "There are many things you can do to learn new words. I will tell you what is statistically the most effective way. It's reading. When people read, they learn new words faster than those who don't read. It's beneficial to read for at least 30 minutes every day. Please let me show you how to maximize reading. First, it's essential that the book or text you read is captivating to you. It should be something you enjoy reading. The book can be a lovely story, fiction, or nonfiction, whatever interests you. Don't read texts that bore you. When you don't know many words, you can get frustrated. You always want to enjoy everything you do while using the language. It's effective to choose a text that is both captivating and appropriate for your level. When you come across a word you don't understand, use a dictionary to find its meaning. This will help you understand the text better, and your knowledge will grow. You won't have to write the word down anywhere. The word will automatically get locked in your brain, and you'll always remember its meaning when you see it again. Every time there's a new word, you do the same. Reading also has another advantage. When you read, you learn new words, as well as how they are connected to other words in the sentence. You can see how to link the words correctly. This way of learning new words is very effective. Try it, and you'll see how fast you can learn new vocabulary. Then, we continued with the lesson. We talked about the job market in England and the best jobs for students. This was beneficial for me, as I wanted to get a job. I wanted to do something in my spare time after school. I asked other students if they knew where I could find a job. They told me I should visit a job center. The job center offers many jobs, especially for students. I was pleased to know where to find a job. When school was over for the day, I went to the job center. I wasn't sure what job I could do, so I asked the lady at the job center for advice. She told me that they had some excellent jobs for students. She said I could be a cleaner or a waitress at a cafe. I told her I didn't have experience with these jobs. She told me my English was adequate enough to work at the cafe. The training was easy, and I would have more chances to practice speaking English than if I were a cleaner. She said I could start my job on Thursday. I was pleased to have a job where I could practice English. On Wednesday, I went to school again. There was one student in the class who was quieter than the others. He was from South Korea. When our teacher asked if we had any questions, the student from Korea said he had a problem with pronunciation. He knew his pronunciation wasn't great, but he didn't know how to improve it. He didn't speak much because he didn't want others to hear his mistakes. He said he read and watched English films a lot and understood them well, but wanted to improve his speaking. He asked if there was something he could do to improve pronunciation. Our teacher smiled and said, "Okay, I will teach you techniques to help with pronunciation. First, we need to understand why students struggle with pronunciation. When we speak, we have to move our mouth. We use muscles in our mouth, and sometimes, when learning English, we use them the same way we use them in our native language. This is why pronunciation can sound different from native speakers. It happens to many students learning English. But it's not a big problem because people usually understand you even if your pronunciation isn't perfect. However, you can work on it with a technique called shadowing. Shadowing is very simple. When you do shadowing, you copy the sounds you hear. Children learn their first language this way, by copying. You can learn English pronunciation the same way. Listen to a recording that's not too quick and repeat the sounds as you hear them. That's it. Then, our teacher showed us a video where the shadowing technique was demonstrated. We practiced it for about 3 minutes. Our teacher told us, shadowing is also useful for preparing presentations when you want to have excellent pronunciation. This was intriguing for me. I hadn't heard about this technique before. After the lesson, I went to the school reception. I asked the receptionist if there were any sports activities at school. I wanted to play some sport in England. The receptionist said, "Yes, we have a table tennis team and a football team. The football team practices today at 5 o'clock. I was very happy because sports are important to me. I went to football practice and met players from different countries: Brazil, Japan, Russia, Spain, Argentina, and Italy. I liked the training, and I was pleased that my time in England had started well. I had a wonderful teacher, some new friends from the football team, and a job where I could practice English. On Thursday, we had a new student in our class. Her name was Sarah, and she was from Italy. At the beginning of the lesson, my teacher asked Sarah some questions. My teacher knew her because Sarah had visited the class a year ago for a beginner's course during the summer. When Sarah spoke, she was fluent and had excellent pronunciation. My teacher was very pleased and told her, "Your school in Italy must be excellent." Sarah smiled and said, "I don't go to any school. I learn English at home using the techniques you taught me." She explained that she reads, does shadowing, and thinks aloud in English. These techniques helped her progress quickly. She said the 2 weeks she spent in class last summer had shown her the way. This was all intriguing to me. I knew about reading and shadowing, but I didn't know about thinking aloud. So I asked my teacher what it was. She explained, "Thinking aloud is a very effective technique, but you need strong motivation. It might seem a little strange, but when you start thinking aloud, your English improves quickly." I don't care if it's strange. If it helps, I want to learn it. Our teacher said, "It's simple. Instead of thinking in your native language, you think in English and say what you're thinking out loud." I found it intriguing. Our teacher asked Sarah to share her experience with thinking aloud. Sarah explained that it wasn't straightforward at first. She started with simple sentences like, "I can speak English. I want to get better. I need to practice." Her thinking in Italian was long and complicated, so she had to find simpler forms in English. After some time, it became natural to think in English. Then she met a man from Australia. Although she was still a beginner, they started talking in English, and she realized she could communicate without problems. That meeting motivated her to use thinking aloud even more, and now it's part of her daily routine. Our teacher thanked Sarah for sharing her experience. I wanted to use this technique to improve my speaking too. When you want to speak English fluently, think aloud. And that's my advice. Read, listen, think, and speak. Do each activity for 40 minutes every day. You can read, listen, and shadow using our basic English stories.